Quinjet Don Chashalik Nai. Shojri Julia Fisher-Salmon Oji. Se Du Tsat Chalkyitsik Gwatsan Ithli. Shia Hanai Charlene Fisher Tsat Daryl Salmon Goji. Shitsu Nai Margaret Fisher Tsat Minnie Salmon Goji. Shitsi Nai Reverend Scott Fisher Tsat William Salmon Senior Goji. My name is Julia Fisher-Salmon. I'm from Beaver and Chalkyitsik, Alaska. My parents are Charlene Fisher and Daryl Salmon. My grandmothers are Margaret Ann Fisher and Minnie Salmon. My grandfathers are Reverend Scott Fisher and William Salmon Sr. I am a criminal justice student at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. I'm currently a junior, and I'm also working towards an associate's degree in tribal management. Currently, I'm interning in Washington, D.C. at Congressman Don Young's office. I am an emerging leader, and I've been a youth delegate for many years. I was working with youth delegates last night on their speeches, and I was also working on mine, and I value Katina's input on my speeches because she has a way of personalizing it, and it helps you find your message when we address our chiefs and elders. Anyways, so she read over my speech, and she was like, well, this is very you, Julia. The speech I had wrote was essentially a research paper, and it wasn't personalized to me at all. I had been debating with myself about what I wanted my speech to be about since I found out I was going to be a keynote speaker. I was weighing between the options of being uplifting and positive or talking about the harsh issues that face our people and communities. And I realized last night that I have been trying to discuss issues that I personally have never faced. I listen to the speeches the youth delegates make every year, and I cannot relate to them. I hear their stories, and I'm aware of the suffering that goes on in the communities. Because of my ignorance to these issues as to how it personally affects someone, I ask that you don't hear this speech as a reference to these issues. I ask instead that you look to the brave youth delegates who have had the courage to get up in front of everyone and tell their stories. To see the strength that they embody to talk about those issues to a room full of chiefs and our esteemed guests is truly remarkable to me. I was raised in Beaver, Alaska by my parents, Charlene Fisher and Daryl Salmon, and they are truly the reason I am who I am today. They are the reason I've had the opportunities that I've had, like taking school trips. My mom took our school to Japan twice. She's taken us to New York City. She's taken us all over the nation. Not only has she taken us on those school trips, she's made our school life in the village a positive experience. Not the experience that most kids have had in village schools. Beaver School used to always test in the highest categories for spring testing, and we were always prepared, and she would make sure that we had snacks and juice and whatever we needed to get through them. Our school would go on trapping school trips with the late Tuffy, or Cliff Adams Jr., and my dad and the other parents who helped out with snow machines and getting all the students to the trapping site. She worked cultural activities into our school curriculum, and she and the school staff were truly remarkable. I would like to thank all of the Alaska Native teachers who are truly changing the lives of their students, and I hope you know that you have that power. I was in sub-regionals a few days ago, and I heard one of the tribal members from my community say how proud she was of Jolie and I, and that we were the result of when Beaver had a good school. I've been thinking about that since she said it, and I think she's 100% right. The schools in the communities truly are a beacon of hope for our kids in our communities, and they do have the power to change their lives. I've had the fortune of being raised in a safe and sober home. I've never worried about where my next meal was coming from. My sisters and I have never been neglected, and I've never been without because of my parents. Although I've never suffered through the severity of the struggles that our region faces, I've always tried to be an advocate. I've always tried to help better our communities through working with my peers and learning about the issues and what TCC and the tribal governments are doing to combat the dominant issues that we face. I got involved with the emerging leaders because I truly believe in the group. I have known the other emerging leaders since we were all about 14 years old, and we had no idea what a resolution was or what they did. We all have strong personalities and we have a lot to say. We also intently listen to our leaders. We have for the past 7 years that we've been youth delegates. Both our chiefs and youth delegates have powerful messages that we've tried to incorporate into our values. I love that we were able to get the resolution for this council passed. We wrote it in the vending machine room of this Westmark. And now we have a grant that lets us meet and work in actual meeting rooms. It was just an idea that we all had, and now we are a recognized council that shoots to represent the youth from every sub-region. How we initiated our council is what I want for the youth of our region. I want their goals to be attainable. I want us to work together for a stronger future. I want the youth of our communities to have opportunities to travel, to help the younger kids in their communities by starting up youth activities, to play sports, whatever they might want in their community. I want them to have the support from their chiefs, from their communities, and from TCC. I want them to be able to make anything they want to make it happen. I want the youth in our communities to go to college. I want them to be successful and happy. I see our region embracing the power that we have as youth, to listening more intently about what we need and what we want to see happen in our communities. Our culture and the strength that our traditional values embody will get us there. This is the first convention where I have seen this many youth involved, and you will hear us this year. Our demands will be met, and the youth in this region, even if they're not here at convention, should feel like they are a force to be reckoned with, because they are. We have been using the method of keeping quiet for too long for it to prove nothing mends in silence. Our region struggles with many things, such as substance abuse, suicide, violence such as rape, domestic violence, and assault. These issues can no longer be normalized, shoved under the rug, and urged to keep quiet. I believe we have the ability to start addressing them appropriately and start working towards a realistic solution. It is clear to see how much damage drugs and alcohol cause every day. It should be clear that whatever we are doing to put a stop to this affliction is not enough. We must do more. We must work ceaselessly until we are able to feel that our communities are a safe place to raise families without ever feeling they are in harm's way. Our communities need access to behavioral health clinics that can help those who suffer from mental illness. Mental illness needs to be taken seriously and it needs to be addressed. Our region is far too harsh on those who suffer from the crippling illnesses such as depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Illnesses such as those are often put in the light of mockery among our communities. It is seen as being lazy, useless, and paranoid, when in actuality, these people are suffering from illnesses that impair their ability to lead a normal life. The region's suffrage from mental illness can be seen through how often we are attending memorial potlatches, how often we are attending funerals, the lack of how often rape is discussed. How can we expect our youth to succeed and flourish if they can't get treatment for these issues? Every day that passes where mental health continues to be misunderstood is another day we continue to allow the cycle of passing hardships on to the next generation. Instead of persistently scrutinizing and oppressing those who suffer from mental illnesses, we pave a healthier path for those to come. Start by learning, then teaching awareness to every community about the severity and the weight mental illness can have on a person. It is no secret that we lose loved ones to suicide. Suicide has probably almost affected everyone in this room. Whether it was a family member, friend, or someone from your community, suicide is devastating for everyone involved. This isn't an issue we can realistically sit down in a meeting and resolve. I don't have the answers to what can bring such a dominant issue to rest, but I believe we all have a part to play when it comes to these tragedies. We need to quit ignoring that it's happening and that it exists. That will resolve nothing. We need to be kind and considerate of those around us, and we need to not spread rumors that could really hurt someone's feelings and tarnish their self-image. We need to get those who are considering suicide help. This takes everyone, it takes kindness, and it takes love. Our ancestors chose a harsh environment to subsist in. All of our communities are primarily rural and have no road access. This makes it difficult for the public to access our communities. It makes it expensive to travel to and fro those communities, but it is no excuse for the Alaska State Troopers to not respond to crime scenes in our communities at a reasonable time. There have been cases of murders, assault, rapes, and that occur in our communities that don't get a response until days after the fact, even if that. This is a form of discrimination against Alaska Natives. We should by no means be held to a different standard than the rest of America. People in power are aware of this issue and understand it, yet do nothing about it. If you heard this was happening anywhere else in the nation, it would be considered a crisis. But instead, because we have chosen to live our traditional lifestyle, which consists of being in a rural community, we are penalized. This issue cannot be passed off as a matter of weather, rural remoteness, costs of transportation, and the logistics of responding to a rural community emergency. Alaska Native lives are being valued lower than the rest of the nation, and it needs to stop. To our youth, you are the future and you are important. The skin you are in should not feel wrong just because it is not commonly seen on television, in magazines. Just because Alaska Natives aren't often represented doesn't mean we are any less valuable. Embrace that rarity. Embrace being Alaska Native. You are descendants of some of the strongest people on the planet. You have a rich culture. You have a rich culture that embodies respect, unity, and perseverance. Those three qualities out of many are valuable. They strengthen who we are as a people. They strengthen you. You are stronger than you think. The stereotypes that are shared among your peers do not define who you are and who you are to become. You have the power and the ability to become whomever you want to be. Statistics are only numbers, no matter how high or low they may be. They don't limit you. No matter what anyone says or doesn't say, you belong in that university as much as anyone else does. Become a doctor, lawyer, athlete, or whatever you are passionate about. Don't let anyone deter your aspirations. Whatever you choose to be, it's achievable. I'm sorry if no one has taught you how valuable you are. I hope you'll never feel that the answer is to keep silent about something that is stopping you from being happy and well. I hope that you realize the amount of healing that lies in our traditions. That is why they are so significant and something to be proud of. If Alaska Natives are anything, it's perseverant. We have proven to have the resiliency to keep surviving after all that has been thrown our way. At some point, we need to quit surviving in chaos and begin planting seeds of peace, peace of mind, peace amongst one another, and not just survive, but enjoy this life we are given. The youth of our region will fight for what we deserve by embodying the values our ancestors have passed down to us. Anabasi masicho shalaknai. Thank you very much.